This is an install how-to for the Raymarine Raytheon ST4000 head unit. We're going to be changing out the LCD screen here. You can see this one has a fairly sunburnt screen on it, so we are going to switch this guy out. This is also going to apply to the ST4000 plus and 5000 plus models as well. They will all use the same screen and have the same layout. I went ahead and removed the 8 backing screws from the back here. They're all the same length, so you don't need to worry about keeping track of which one goes where, but you will see that there is obviously a slight curve at the bottom of this case. When you go to separate this guy, just be very careful because these are very thin edges on the outer case and you don't want to crack them. So just go ahead, hold it right here, use 2 hands, place your other hand right here and just kind of wiggle it until it comes out. This is what it will look like once you have the backing piece separated. Just be careful, there is this cord or this cable right here that connects into the circuit board. You just need to basically wiggle that guy off very easily. And just keep in mind that this little gasket here is easy to get bumped up, so just be careful when you're taking this thing off not to use anything to pry. Just separate it by wiggling it by hand. It will come. There are 3 screws holding down the circuit board that need to be removed, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now that we have removed the 3 screws from the bottom curved edge of the circuit board, we are now going to depress all 4 of these little black tabs. Now be very careful, these tabs are prone to breaking, and if you do break one, your screen is not going to connect correctly. But luckily, you just have to pinch them together just a little bit. You can push down on them just a hair to get them to kind of stick and stay together inside that hole in the circuit board. And then you'll just go ahead and kind of turn it upside down, give it a tap or a jiggle, and hopefully that whole thing will then come loose and pop right out. Okay, once you get the cover off, just be aware there is going to be this little UV protector screen that is going to be flopping around loose in here. It looks like this person had a little bit of melting going on with that. Not sure why, but the LCD holder will now separate, or should separate, from the circuit board. You may have to depress those little tabs just a little bit further to get it to pull out, but then you can go ahead and set that aside. Orientation, just in case you get it goofy, the thicker part goes towards the top. And there is the circuit board and the screen and the elastomeric strips that we're going to be replacing. Okay, so now with the retainer removed, you can just go ahead and pull the screen straight out. Go ahead and make sure that your contact points are all nice and clean. In the new kit, you should get 2 new elastomeric strips. Make sure that they are super clean, especially on the edges here. And you can go ahead and just insert them back into those slots. In the instructions, it talks about removing this clear piece from the circuit board, and that does kind of clip in here at the top, and then comes together at the bottom where the buttons are, but you don't actually have to remove this clear piece if you don't want to. You can just go ahead, put these back in here like such. Sorry, trying to do this one-handed is a little more difficult. Anyway, the new screen will come with a protective film layer on the front. Make sure that you remove that. There is also one on the back, but you don't have to remove that guy, and I would recommend that you do not, but you do want to go ahead and remove the one from the front. Just kind of peel at one of the corners with your finger, or if you really need to, be very careful and use an X-Acto knife to just peel a little bit up, but it should pretty easily come off. Okay, so now I have the elastomeric strips installed on the circuit board. I've got this new fresh screen that is ready to be installed. You will notice there is a little bit of a bump right here. That is the top of the screen. You can also kind of see the digits on the screen. You want to make sure that that is obviously facing the correct direction. This is the top, the thicker piece of the frame. So we're going to go ahead and flip this guy over and just kind of gently press it in there. You'll see there are the little pressure guides here that you want to make sure that the screen sits nice and flush and contacts all of those. And then we'll just go ahead and put it on top of the elastomeric strips, just like such. When you are reinstalling the screen, the screen does tend to want to fall out of the holder, so I find that it's best if you go ahead and turn the screen upside down and install the circuit board on top of it, and obviously pushing those being careful with those black tabs. Don't force anything. Make sure that they are in there nice and snug and go in the holes evenly. There you can see all of the tabs are in there nice and flush and clicked out. You want to make sure that they are all the way in, because those case screws will actually, or the case guides will actually fit into the internal side of these holes here in just a minute when we put it back together. But this is now ready to go. Your little number buttons might, or your control buttons might come off. Just push those right back on. Now is a good time to go ahead and clean all of the screen surfaces, including the LCD, the UV screen, as well as the outer case screen, both inside and out, especially inside, of course, because you don't want to have a bunch of fingerprints on there on reassembly. I went ahead and just put the circuit board back in along with the UV screen. I put that on top of the little black holder and then just set the whole thing into the case nice and gently. And so now we need to go ahead and reinstall these 3 screws right down here. When installing any of the screws on this, be very careful not to over tighten them, as this is plastic and probably old plastic at that. So it is prone to cracking or stripping. So just be very, very careful not to over tighten any of the screws that you do, either here or on the outside of the case. So now once that is reattached there, making sure that all of your little guide pins here are fully popped out. We are ready to go ahead and reinstall the back plate. You do need to reconnect this little wire connector right here to, let's see, those posts right there that you pulled them off of. The little L shape will face the middle of the circuit board when you put it back on. So just make sure it's in the correct direction, and obviously you need to make sure that the curved bottom part is on the right side. You will also see that there are a bunch of electrical pins that fit into various places on the circuit board. So when you are putting this piece back on, once you have the wire on, you're going to have to be very careful and make sure that it is lined up perfectly and you're getting everything in each hole that it's supposed to be in. do not try to force it. Take your time. Once you've got that back in, you can go ahead and put all of the rest of the screws back in. Again, being very careful not to over tighten any of them. Then you can go ahead, that's basically it. You can go ahead and reattach your unit, test it. If you are missing any data on your screen, it is most likely a connection issue with the elastomeric strips. So you will need to just basically disassemble it again, make sure that your strips are in there nice and straight, clean, contacting all of the points, and just be very diligent when you are installing that, because you don't want to have to take it all apart again. That's it, pretty simple. All you really need is a small tipped Phillips head screwdriver and some patience, and that's all.